Hey y'all, it's Coach Cookie and I am here to meet all of your fitness needs. I'm excited. Come and see me. So I'm offering so much stuff here. I have dance fitness, and I'm talking about all kinds of dance, sexy dance, hip hop dance, line dance. Come see me. Good morning, my Resilience Rising family. How are y'all this Monday morning? We here for another episode of Resilience Rising. After a while, y'all gonna make me start calling it Car Chronicles with Cookie or something, because we in the car all the time. I know, but I'm up and moving around so early in the day, so sometimes I just jump on when something hits my spirit, and it happens to be in the car from time to time. Y'all know I always tell y'all, make sure you have liked, followed, and subscribed to Mogul TV Network, as well as Resilience Studios on all the platforms, so you don't miss anything and you have all the latest news of what's coming, what's going on, and the updates, and you're getting all the good things in your spirit, okay? So make sure you do that. Make sure you tell a friend, share the show, like the show, do all the things so we can stay connected, okay? So I'm here, just want to talk to y'all. Like I said, something jumped in my spirit and I was like, ooh, that's good. That's good. I need to share it. So I'm here to talk about it. I had a conversation with my son last week because there was a little stuff going on at school. He had talked with one of the staff members or faculty members at his university, and they were trying to hash out some things. So if you know my son, to know him is to know that he is an advocate. He is going to speak up about what he believes, what he does not believe, and how he feels about something. The child does not have a shortage of words at all. He's going to let you know. And he's going to be able to justify the feelings that he has, the stance that he has, whatever is going on. So during this conversation, he was trying to explain why he felt a certain way, where he stood on the issue, how he could justify the things that have happened. And I'm going to just go ahead and give y'all a little bit of the history and backstory so you can follow along. So last school year, all the kids were assigned calculators. Y'all remember back in our day, we used to have a TI-83 or 84 or something like that. Those fancy calculators. So the kids were assigned calculators. One of my son's classmates, they had taken a test. They were in class. Test was, or my son was done with his test. One of the classmates didn't have his calculator. I don't know what happened to it, but he didn't have his calculator. So my son, with the instructor's knowledge, allowed him to use my son's calculator. My son went ahead and left, came on home for the day to leave the kid to finish up his test. So he finished the test, and my son was assuming that when the test was over, he was going to turn the calculator in to the instructor, because the instructor was aware, hey, I'm leaving the calculator with him so he can do his test. Well, he didn't turn the calculator in, and the calculator came up missing. So from a mama's standpoint, my advice was, you shouldn't have let somebody borrow your stuff. That's probably coming from an only child standpoint too. But that was my take on it. Like, you are responsible for whatever is checked out to you, whatever is assigned to you, whatever the school has given you. So when you give it to someone else, even though the instructor is aware, you now they're not liable if something happens. It was checked out to you, so you're liable. So that was a conversation he and I had. He really didn't want to hear it. It was fine. I told him anyway. That's what I'm supposed to do as a mama. So we had that conversation. He kept kind of talking back and forth with the kid. The kid was like, well, I don't know what I did with it. I don't know what happened to it. Don't know where it is. So the end of the school year came, and the calculator needed to be turned in, or it needed to be paid for. So I told my son, it seems like you just learned a very expensive lesson. Go on and get your debit card out. Go swipe it, because I ain't losing. I didn't let somebody borrow it. I don't know what else to tell you. So when he went in to go pay for the calculator, one of the other faculty members at the school basically told him, don't worry about it. It's taken care of. The other faculty member is kind of like a student support person. All the kids come to her, and that's who they go through if anything is going on at the school. So we didn't know if she paid for it. From what we understood, the other student did not pay for it. But we didn't know if it had turned back up. We didn't know what happened. She just said it was okay. So again, that was last school year. Fast forward to this school year. They're in class. The other kiddo is still bringing up the calculator situation. And he's saying that my son should have just left it alone. He should have never asked for the calculator back. He has a lot to say about the situation. So now my son is upset because he's like, no, you lost my stuff. So I'm not understanding how you got a problem with me saying that you lost my stuff, blah, blah, blah. So it's getting kind of catty. It's some back and forward. So the school takes a trip. They're going on a school trip where they're going to be staying overnight for a couple of nights. And it so happened that faculty member that is the student support person assigned my son and this other kid to the same room to stay for the few days at this camp. So my son went to her and said, well, I don't want to stay in the room with him because it's still some stuff kind of rolling over about this. And I don't feel comfortable staying in the room with him. If something pop off, I just don't want to be involved in it. The faculty member is aware of the history because remember, again, she was involved on the front side. So she knows all the things that have happened. So her and my son are in conversation about what's going on. Why don't you want to stay in the room? So the faculty member says, well, I don't see the big deal. Like, y'all should be able to stay in the room together. You just need to leave the past in the past and not talk about it anymore. And I think to a degree, it could have been left in the past if both of them had left it alone and not talked about it anymore. But it continued to be a conversation. So again, if you know my child, he's going to state his point and he's going to try to get you to see his point. So he's still talking. He's talking back and forth with her, not being disrespectful. But she's like, nope, I don't care. I don't want to hear y'all going in a room together. Is what it is. And so she ends up telling him that he lives in his own land. And so that's just that. Like, you live in your own land. You don't listen to nobody else. You're not trying to understand how other people are feeling. You're just thinking about yourself. They ended the conversation. He came home and he let me know all about how he did not like being told that he lived in his own land. So as he's talking, he's telling me everything that's going on. And as a parent, we should be thankful when our kids are open with us, when they come to us, when they talk to us, because that does not always last. Kids get to an age sometimes where they don't want to tell you all the things. Some parents have kids who have never told them all the things. Some parents don't know how to be a safe space for their kids to tell them things. So if you have a kiddo that comes to you and talk to you, be thankful. Be grateful. If you need tips in that area, reach out to somebody. Get some tips and some tricks to kind of get kids to open up to you. But I digress. So he came and he's telling me the story. And when he said that part of it about saying that she told him he lives in his own land, I was like, well, you do sometimes. And in that moment, I had to stop and think, is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? And I literally thought about it for a few days, y'all. And so that weekend came and it was my class reunion that weekend. And I was sitting and talking with a classmate and he ended up telling me about how when I didn't even realize he was a student from somewhere else. He came from Chicago. And when he came here, he said we had the same last name. So I thought we were going to be able to be friends and this, that, and the other. And I came to class and you just kind of, not like I ignored him. He said I was nice, but it was like, okay, hi, new guy. And I went on about my way. So as he said it, I said, well, sometimes I'm just in my own land. And as soon as it came out my mouth, I said, oh, Lord, I'm turning into my son. But the reality of it is my son is being me. So again, thoughts started going. I started processing. I started thinking about, And we do live in our own land sometimes. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? That was the question that I was still toying around and playing with. But after my classmate told me that, I decided it can be both. And I'm okay with it being both. So as I'm talking to you today, living in our own land, I'm going to encourage you to live in your own land sometimes. I want you to live in your own land sometimes. We live in other people's lands so much as women. We live in the workplace land. We live in our husbands' or our wives' land. We live in our kids' land. We live in our business land. We live in the church land. We live in so many other different places, but do we really take time to live in our own land and decide what it is we like, what we don't like, what we love about ourselves, what things we want to change about ourselves? The only way to figure out those things is to live in us land. We have to be able to, for my son in that situation, he was able to advocate for himself. Didn't turn out the way that he wanted it to, but he advocated for himself. He spoke on his own behalf. He did all of the things himself. We have to be able to do that. So I commend him on being able to stand in that. I commend him on being able to use his words. I commend him on being able to advocate in that moment for himself and why he did not feel comfortable being in that room. I commend him on coming home and being able to talk to me and explain to me why he stood where he stood, because now I'm going to advocate for you and with you. Now I'm able to have your back because you were able to tell me the reasons why you felt this way that you felt. We as adults have to be able to do those same things. In my instance of me living in my own land, being in Andrea land, being in Coach Cookie land, that's how I'm successful. That's how I thrive. I can't thrive if I'm worried about your business, his business, and her business. I'm spread too thin. I have to live in my own land in order to be successful in the things that I want to do. And I'm encouraging you to do the same. Social media has us so far gone. We are in other people's business so much. Too dang much. Because I can't say what I want to say on Mogul TV Network. But we are in other people's business too much. If we lived in our own land and did our own thing and worried about our own selves and our own households as much as some of us worry about other people's stuff, baby, we wouldn't just be surviving, we'd be thriving. I'm talking about in all ways. You'll be done found new habits and picked up new hobbies, paying hobbies that you didn't even know you had. Because there's people out here that are fully dedicated to watching other people for no other reason other than to be nosy. And I'm going to tell you, the last time Resilient Studios wrote a check for somebody page watching was never. I don't pay nobody else to be nosy on my page. Not on my personal page, not on my business page, but I get in Andrea land and I make sure that it happens. So as we go forward in this week with those two examples of a baby being able to advocate for himself and being able to stand up for himself because he lived in his own land and he knew what was good for him and what wasn't good for him. And in my example of, because during high school, baby, I kept A's. I kept good grades. I stayed where I needed to be. Yes, bumped my head, did plenty of stuff. But my business was in order because I was worried about my business, not your business. So in that example of me being in Andrea land, that works for me. It's going to work for you too. Because you can't go wrong in fixing yourself if you're looking at yourself. Now, if you're trying to fix yourself and you're looking at somebody else, Houston, we have a problem. So we need to work on it. So that is my push. That is my motivation. That is my encouragement to you as you go through this week. Live in your land. Figure out what makes you tick. Figure out what makes you grow. Put your plan in place with your goals and your things that you need to work on, your things that you need to develop. Don't worry about what Susie Q needs to do because it ain't got nothing to do with you. What Susie eat don't make you poop. Worry about you, okay? That's what I'm dropping in your spirit for this week. Live in your land. Do your thing. Boss up. Build up. be in your land. All right. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. Until next time. Bye.